Peace out. How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? Hope y'all had a good day. We are proceeding. We are getting there. The night is still young for us. Compound. Let me just put my caption in. Get your family compound. Right. Many costs 50% off. All right, we set. All right. Once again, back with another live. Hope y'all had a really, really good day. For me, it's ongoing. I do have a training tonight on a Tuesday. Why do we have a training on a Tuesday? From our last challenge, we brought a group of new investors in. And from that challenge, we gave them 6 weeks of personalized training. We don't want to bring new investors into our ecosystem and have them get started on the wrong foot. So we offer 6 weeks extended training for those that came in from our last 3-day challenge. And here we are at another week, making sure that they're getting started off right. Land investing does require steps, as with any other business. So we want to make sure that we're being efficient. So when these investors get to the point where they can stand on their own, it works out for them. All right. So I look forward to that. I have that training in about 34 minutes. So we'll speed this up and we'll get to the meat and potatoes of this live tonight. The meat and potatoes of this live tonight is family compounds. We're still celebrating the release of this new mini course, our family compound course, right? While most families are looking to buy one house, right? Let's take it back to what they've been doing across the continent in Africa forever, right? This family compound concepts, that is where it originated from. It originated from tribal. It originated from our ancestors. It originated from that plane over there because they still use that format as their main way of living. Just do a little bit of homework, right? But over here, I think we have gotten away so far from our own people. I said it yesterday. You rather live next to a stranger than live next to your own people. And we're the only culture that's like that. We can't work together. We can't live together. Then we definitely and certainly we can't build together if we can't do those things. And this is why everything that we are involved in, at one point, we were prevalent in. We were thriving when we were most together. The more divided you are, the less power you have. But for whatever reasons, we became that way. We have to be isolated. Everybody has to have their own. Everybody's looking in the next person's backyard and window, wondering, do I have more than the next person? Do they have more than me? As opposed to doing what other cultures do. Young lady said on the live yesterday, oh, the Jews stick together. I agree they stick together. Great. Why don't you take a page out of their book and we stick together? So we can't do things like simple things, right? I'm just tired of hearing us praise things that we don't own. Like we quick to like glorify where we from. We quick to glorify if we're from the projects. We quick to glorify neighborhoods that's not ours. How about owning the fucking neighborhood? How about that? Pardon my French, but it kind of gets underneath my skin because this is not a tall tale. And this is not something that I'm going to lightly toss around and say that this is something that we can just pick up and go do overnight. That's not necessarily true. But we do have the experience to go about. I'll put it this way. Just the other day, we had a guy contact us and say, my family left me a ghost town in Arizona. Now, when you really think about that in depth, he was left a ghost town in Arizona. Most of you are saying, I'm not going out there. Well, that means that you are comfortable with the bylaws of where you stay. Most of us have fell victim to what the city offers us in the comfort level that it offers us, and it is trained you to think that way. I'm well aware what we're talking about. This is out of the ordinary. I'm well aware that most people probably won't be on this time. Only time they'll get on the same page is when it's built. That's how we move. If they build it, or if you build it, then they'll come. But then I don't need you to come when it's built. I need you to come when the lifting is going up the mountain. That's when it's the most heaviest. That's when we need the most help. The table is set now. I don't need anybody to come eat at the table once it's set. Right? So this family compound, we throwing this in the air so people can consider, live with your own people. And as I stated yesterday, I'm not going to say live with your own family, because somebody said, I read comments, oh, I can't live that close to my family. Well, who do you live next to? Because I doubt if you live in a rural market, well, who can you live next to? If it's not your blood family, who do you call family? Who's in your circle? Because I also agree, just because we're blood related, it doesn't necessarily make us family. But who do you consider family? Do you have a circle of friends that you consider family? Do it with them. I'm just saying that the strength is in the numbers. If it works for every other culture, how do you think they win when it comes to building subdivisions, when it comes to building skyscrapers? It's not one person that's building it. It's a group that's buying everything. It's hedge funds that's buying everything. Hedge funds is all people that has some money that's pooling it together. So I'm saying, once we have gotten so far away from these practices, how do you get back to it? Right? Slowly is how you get back to it. I believe in practicality. We get back to it slowly. It's not going to happen overnight because we didn't get here overnight. But my audience, which is a mature audience, I do appreciate you for being in support of this message, and I want you to stay in support of this message so it can continue to grow and it can continue to spread. In fact, do me a favor, share this live with someone that needs to hear it, because it's bigger than me. Trust me, it's much bigger than me. I just recognize, or I see the lack of in the culture that I'm a part of. So we try to bring things to this culture that we're part of, that's tangible, that's reachable, that we can partake in. So now, here we are with a family compound course, giving the steps, right? Giving the steps on how to go about starting or getting your family compound. First and foremost, it's going to start with what? You know what it's going to start with. It's going to start with ownership of land. You must have a piece of land to consider having or building your family compound. We go into a deep dive inside of the mini course about that. What kind of land would you want to put your family compound on? Because when it comes to land, we have to consider what? We have to consider zoning. Because when we're talking about any time putting multiple structures on a property, it has to be allowed first. So we can say we want 20 acres. We can say we want 30 acres. But where do you want that acreage at? If you want to be where you normally or have been at, close to city areas or suburban areas, there's going to be regulations on it. Certain cities will allow multiple structures. Most won't allow more than two. Most. You have to check with your zoning. I can't speak for all 3,200 counties, but I can kind of speak for all city areas. They won't allow more than two if they allow two. So if you desire to be in the city limits, this may not be something that worked for you, or you have to find a workaround. What do I mean about a workaround? And you wanted to have multiple units. It may have to be labeled something else besides a family compound, is what I'm saying. It may have to be rezoned for commercial input, maybe an apartment or a duplex, triplex, or a 4-unit home. But in order for it to be a family compound, in isolated structures, because a family compound is 2 or more structures, in isolated structures, you need to check with zoning. There's a lot of things that go into family compound besides just the structure. Most of us think land first, then what do I want my structure to be like? But in between that, in the middle of all of that, the most important things is what we broke down inside of the course. We broke down infrastructure, because that is what's going to make the family compound work and function. What's infrastructure? At the top of the list, the most important one is going to be utilities. We need utilities. What are utilities that go to the property? First, we have to consider, how are we running water to it? How are we getting lights? How are we getting electricity? Are you tapping into the grid? What's the grid? That's inside of the city limits. Those are the utilities that the county or city provide. Electric department, light department, gas department, those are your utilities. So you have to position it to make sure you can get utilities. If you're not in close proximity to the grid, then we have to consider other alternative options like septic, well, solar. Those things are highly important to consider. So what I did inside of this mini course, I gave you options of what to consider. I even gave you PDFs of different power companies for you to check to see if they're in proximity or location to where you're trying to be. Then we have to consider roads, how far apart, the layout of the compound, because you want to have roads to get to each structure. Do those roads, what do they look like? Dirt roads, paved roads, gravel roads? What do you want your compound to feel and look like? A lot of things we poured into it. Who are you going to bring to your compound? Family members? Now, the beauty, what I like about a compound is because it offers multiple uses, as do land. It offers multiple uses. If we wanted to use it for personal use, we wanted to bring our personal family or friends there, clearly we could do that. Even from a business standpoint, you can rent these units out. There's a guy now, he has a tiny home compound. He has about 12 structures, tiny homes, and he rents them all out. That is a business in a box. There's another guy, he has a compound, he has the main house where he stays, then he has 6 other houses that he separated, and he's rent the other 6 houses out. Now his lifestyle is afforded through the rentals. And our people, we think that celebrities and billionaires are the only ones that can own these compounds. Doesn't always have to be high-end compounds either. It doesn't have to be built from the ground up. Options and alternatives. You can start with cabins. You can start with container homes. We did a video today on a container home family compound. Much cheaper, much cost efficient to get involved with. If you're handy, you can build these things out yourself. These are the things that they stripped away from us, right? You ever notice that in school they took away shop? I'm breaking up every single word. That sucks. Thank you for telling me. Is it better? Is the connection a little more solid? Talk to me. Is the connection a little more solid? Because I'm just going 10,000 miles per hour, and if I'm breaking up, I need to get it fixed. Quick question. I know some counties in upstate New York that might be racist. Have you ever dealt with racism? Is that a question? I've been buying land for the past 7, 8 years in the Mississippi. So you answer that question. All right. So this family compound, we got it now at 50% off. This mini course, it is at an affordable price of $47. Comment the word compound. Go get the course and implement the steps in the course. I love to see what you do with it. I love to see you get started. I love to see you take the steps. It all starts with a piece of land first. We even talk in that course places that you can go and source land to get started with your compound. Now, when you're dealing with looking for your land, I put a PDF on it on all the top sites to go and look for land. Me, myself, personally, for what I do as a land investor, I only source all off-market deals. But that's a whole nother conversation about off-market deals. When you're looking for it, if you're not inside of our program and know how to find off-market deals exclusively, you'll probably be looking on the market for on-market deals. On-market deals just means that they're on retail sites, Zillow, Lands of America, Lands and Farm, and things like that. You're going to pay market price for these things. Only advice that I could give to get it at a discounted price for a property that's currently on market is to look at the days on market. How long has it been on the market? If you're looking to make a lower offer that may be accepted, the highest chance of landing that deal is going to look at the days on market and target the ones that have been on the market for close to a year or more. We've seen offers get accepted. Why does offers get accepted much significantly lower at that point? Because they're looking to move the property. And sometimes it's a good property. You still have to know how to research property. We've included that inside of the compound, the steps we take to research property, the systems we use to research property. We've gave all of that stuff for half price off for $47. It's virtually a gift to the audience. $47. I don't know, maybe for the next 72 hours, we'll hold that sale. Then we'll bump it back up to $97, which is also a drop in the bucket for the input. It's over 30 video modules inside of that compound course, breaking down step by step, definitions, meanings, how to, what to do, and when to do it. So comment, compound, go and get the course. Otherwise than that, we are in preparation for our call tonight. Anybody got questions? Drop them in the chat. I'd love to answer some questions. I would love to go to Arizona if I was left land with no issues with it. Arizona has a lot of, it all depends on what part of Arizona. If Phoenix is fully built out around those areas, but outskirts of Arizona is a great place to target. On the outskirts, you can get it for much less than on the inner city parts of Phoenix and all those things. The outskirts of Arizona, which is booming too on the outskirts of Phoenix. We've done research over there. It's super expensive. They have data centers, and whoever those guys that's building these data centers, they're paying top dollar for land out there. I'm talking about that price point has bumped way up in the millions. You may be late on that. You may have to move out a lot further to deal with Arizona. And I'm not counting your pockets because I don't know. I don't know what you're working with. But however, if budget is a concern, you may have to push out a lot further. All right. So y'all talk to me. I'm in Maryland. Is this a good area to acquire land? It all depends. Maryland offers a lot. It all depends. That's a loaded question. Here's what I say when people ask, like generic questions. It's budget based. Every place is a good place to acquire land if we have the money to do it. If you have the money to do it, buy it where you want to buy it at. But if budget is a concern, if the budget is limited, then you need to know areas that you can get good land, quality land for discounted prices. Right? That's what I say. What we teach is we show you how to find land for discounted prices. I like a discount. Well, I need a discount for my business model because I'm considered to be a land flipper. If I can't get it for a discounted price, I can't make money. But if we're talking about for personal use, if I were on the market looking for land, I still would want to get a discounted price. The beauty about what we teach is I have the capability of contacting all the landowners in any given area. So I can kind of play with it and target and pinpoint where I want to be, and I can go after it that way. So she said, "Is it going to acquire land?" She said, "Well, I should have said to invest in tax land deeds." Well, Maryland is a tax lien state. Maryland is a tax lien state. The other beauty about what we do and what we teach is that when we're buying tax deeds, you don't have to go to the auction unless you want to. We buy properties virtually. We stay home. Like we show you this. We give you lists. We show you how to target lists, and we invest from home. So I can be anywhere but nowhere at any given time. I can be investing in Maryland, although I wouldn't because I'm not into tax liens. I'm into tax deeds. I recommend that if you want to know if your state is a tax deed state or a tax lien state, just simply do a Google search and ask. It'll tell you. But Maryland is a tax lien state. Can I use multiple VA loans for a family compound? You may want to ask your institution or the ones that's providing the VA loan. I'm not into the banking side of it. You should be able to. She said, "I bought land on governmentauctions.com. How do you feel about that site?" I don't know. I've heard of it. I don't know about that site. I think that's I know that that's an auction house. What's an auction house? Auction house is a third party that handles auctions for or handles properties for individuals or companies or counties. I always say, regardless of what we're playing from, whether we're buying from an auction house, whether we're buying from a county, we just need to know the rules of engagement. So if you have a clear understanding of how that place works, then I would say, and you know how to evaluate land, I'll say, keep going. And if you're winning, keep going. The proof is always in the pudding. That's what I judge if it's a good site or a good auction or not, based upon what we're doing there and based upon the success that I'm having there. He said, "I'd like to buy a piece of land in Ashland, Oregon. There's a piece of property there for $600,000 for 80 acres. Sounds nice. 80 acres is a lot. I don't know what your goal is for 80 acres, but 80 acres is a lot. We bought 260 acres, and it was a lot to maintain. But if you have a plan for it, I'll say have at it." See if we have any other questions. Otherwise than that, tax deeds are always going on. Entry level investing. This week in my paid community, we're going to talk about land banks. What are land banks? We will be talking about land banks, and I'll explain to you why. Land banks are institutions that work in any given county, and their main function is to revitalize, usually is to revitalize the neighborhood. That's usually what land banks come into fruition for, because they're usually looking to revitalize the neighborhood. And sometimes each land bank is different as well. Some counties, they give distressed properties to the land bank. Sometimes they buy them. Sometimes they get them from the auction. Sometimes they're donated to them, right? And land banks, what they'll do for that general area, the people of that area, they'll sell properties to them. That can be a house, that could be a piece of land, and they give really, really deep and steep discounted prices. But in return, you have to do something with the properties. 95 to 90, matter, I'll say 97% of the land banks don't let you get properties or buy properties from them and just do what you want to do with them. They have strict rules. Usually, if it's vacant land, they want you to have a proposal written up and submit to them what you're going to do with it. Then you have to have contractors. Contractors have to provide licenses. And if all of those things are in place, they'll give you the land for really, really good prices. These are all opportunities, right? Houses, the same thing. They'll say either you have to rehab the house by X amount of time and all of those things. That's how a land bank functions. But I said all of that to say that in our travels, we have found 3%, about 3% of the land banks that will allow us to buy them and sell them as deeds. Really good. You have to know where these things are at. We provide you with these lists. So this week, I'll be discussing that with my paid community about a county in Tennessee that allows us to buy land bank properties and do whatever we want to do with them. That's exciting to me. Anytime we can find new places to invest, that's exciting to me. And I'm not doing the investing these days, but it's exciting to me to give it to my group. But that is a land bank. If you're in an area, someone asked me the other day, do I think they should invest in a land bank or with a land bank? I always say, I think it's a hell of an idea if you're in that area, because you have to keep your eyes on your investment. A lot of things can go wrong, especially if we're dealing with houses. And if you're not in that area and you don't have a plan, as I stated, most of them with vacant land, they want you to focus on putting something on the land. So I think it's a great idea if you're in that area of the said property. Check with your local area to see if they offer land banks or if they have a land bank list. It's a lot. I know Ohio has a bunch. Ohio has a bunch. How do I know that? Because I got the list. I'll call you back. I'm on the line. All right. So consider that. Land banks are very useful. All right. I got 8 minutes. All right. I do have to get ready to cut out. I have another class in 8 minutes. So I do want to at least take 2 minutes off to breathe and restart. Comet Compound, go get the blueprint. Family Compound mini course is very, very useful. It's only $47. It's 50% off right now. That should last. We'll keep it open for 72 hours with the 50% off. Then it'll go up to $97. Either or, if you like a discount, get it while it is at a discount. Put it to use. Leave feedback. I encourage that. I want to see what you have to say about it, because this is how we make improvements. This is how we become better. This is how we know what interests you when we're thinking about bringing new products out. So leave feedback. Go and get it. Thank you for being here. And we'll tap back in tomorrow. I do have to go start this other call. Peace out.